Welcome back, good people of America. You're just in time for some must-see TV. Much like last week's episode, we will be discussing Erik Erikson's stages of social development. Today, we will be talking to Mia Anderson, a woman who's gone through all of these stages throughout her life. Mia, however, faced a better path than the one Albert was unfortunately faced with. This episode, we plan to discuss these stages of Mia's life with her, and we will also be providing pictures and videos that Mia's allowed us to share. Thank you. Hello, dearies. I guess I'm just here to talk about the stages of my life. To start off, following the stage one, I developed initial trust in my life. In my early childhood, the people caring for me were super active in my life, and I was incredibly lucky to have such a supportive family that cared for me.
Received care that was well within her needs in a consistent manner. She was able to develop a sense of trust very early on in her life, and that would carry through to other relationships and provide her a sense of security. This was Mia's first view of the world, and it was a positive one, where she was supported by the people around her.
For the second stage of my life, my parents have always told me that I was a pretty independent child. I wasn't afraid to ask for help, but I often didn't need it. I was super eager to try things on my own, and my parents always remarked about how they were always super impressed because I wanted to always dress myself and try to express myself in different ways.
Mia had the ability to trust others for her needs, and she felt confident and secure in their ability to help her survive in the world. The earlier encouragement and support she got in her life helped her work towards independence.
In the third stage of my life, I was always a pretty imaginative child. I loved coming up with random games to play, and I think that helped me make a lot of friends. All the kids around me were pretty sociable, and it was pretty easy for me to connect with people my age.
Felt the positive effects of the stage. She was given opportunities to be herself and to be imaginative. She was allowed to explore and develop her interpersonal skills through being active socially.
In the fourth stage of my life, I was going through elementary and middle school. I was a pretty strong student as a kid, even though I did struggle with some concepts like science and math. But my parents didn't put a lot of pressure on me. They supported me in any way they could, and they were really happy that I did good in subjects like art and music. My parents did get me a tutor for what I didn't understand, so I was able to make up work in that way. And I was just able to make a lot of goals for myself, and I felt that I was able to follow through with them, and my friends were right there along with me.
Mia was encouraged and supported in her academic pursuits. She was able to take pride in her accomplishments, but also knew it wasn't the end of the world if she couldn't reach them. The people she surrounded herself with socially were raised in similar mindsets, and they didn't feel the need to compete with each other.
At first, puberty hit me like a truck, but through that, I stayed focused on my art, and it gave me some sense of clarity. I had some struggle with what I really wanted to be in my life, but then I realized I could take my art to a professional level. My parents weren't exactly thrilled with this realization of mine, but they also understood that I was a teenager and that I was growing up, and they just did everything in their power to support me, and it really helped me find my sense of self.
Originally struggled in this stage of life where she was learning to be more independent, but she was able to grow past it and discover who she truly wanted to be. She found the role that she wanted to fulfill in society, and her parents understood that and didn't hold her back.
Stage 6 of my life, figuring out what kind of connections I wanted with people around me, was a bit different than some of the other things I'd faced. When I got to college, I originally started dating a lot of different types of people, and there was obviously some confusion there, but after a few years, I started taking the relationships around me a lot more seriously, and eventually I met the love of my life. I felt comfortable with who I was and how I could be with others around me.
Mia was learning what she really wanted in a relationship. She got married in her 30s and knew she didn't want kids, but felt comfortable in the commitment she had to her partner.
For stage 7, there were points in my life that I questioned how much I gave back. I am a woman in a society that really encouraged having children, and I didn't. I understand that that's okay, but at the time, there's points that made it hurt. But I gave back in other ways. I taught others art, and I cultivated others who struggled with their creative side all around. My commitments to the world and the people around me will outlast me, and I'm happy to help people in whatever way I could.
Spent her life pursuing her creative side, and that's what made her happy. She struggled with some of the societal norms placed upon her. However, when she looked at the world in a bigger picture, she knew the effect she had on people would leave an impact that would exist past her death.
And finally, stage 8, where I am now. Overall, looking back at my life, I'm satisfied with what I did. There are points in my life that I can't fully change, but I've made amends with that. I know death is near for me, but I'm going to keep on living while I can.
Mia had a full life. She has closure and accepts the errors she made as a person. She is ready to accept death, but isn't going to just wait around for it. She is grateful for the life that she lived, and this shows the key stage of trust in her life. How she initially viewed the world left a big impact on how she interacted with her surroundings.